Welcome to another edition of Beginner Breakdown. I'm your host, Mike Kummer. Today, you'll see some games. We had Kids Beginner Championship the other day, and guy won the K through 3 championship, so I decided to challenge him and see if I still got what it takes. So I got the white pieces, so here we go. White starts out the move, E4. Hopefully that's what you guys play. Black counters with E5. Now I play the move bishop to C4. The reason why I play this is to try to induce him into getting into the fried liver attack. Because if you just start out knight F3, they'll play knight to C6, and then when you play bishop to C4, they'll see what you're doing, that you want to get your knight to G5. However, if you play bishop to C4 first, then they'll think that knight to F6 looks like a pretty natural move here and attacks the pawn. So now I play the move knight to F3, attacking the pawn and going for knight to G5. But he probably only thinks I'm attacking this pawn. So that's a good way to try to trick your opponent in the first couple moves so you can get the fried liver attack going, is play bishop to C4 on move 2 and then knight F3. So of course black plays knight to C6. And so knowing that, then you know the move I'm going for, knight to G5. Now I have two players attacking this F7 square. All right. So the most natural way to combat the fried liver attack is D5. However, he did not know this, so he plays queen to E7. So how should we take on F7 here? With the knight or the bishop? Well, if you take with the bishop, it's check. So that's probably the way to do it. And so now the king goes to safety. And so now I have a piece of mine deep in his territory that's currently under attack by the queen. The only defender is this vulnerable knight on G5, all right? That can be easily kicked away by the move H6. So what move should we be considering here? How about retreating the bishop, okay? Because he already did his job, right? He took the pawn, he delivered the check, but now he's very vulnerable down in our enemy's territory where he's being attacked. So let's flee him to safety, okay? So he's like, okay, B5. And so now, with my bishop leaving F7, who's primed to just swoop in there? With a check. The knight, yes. The knight checks, king over, fork, okay? So now queen to D6, knight back to F7 to attack the queen, queen to B4. We could attack the queen again, or we could just get safe. You know, we're castled, we're safe, we're awesome. D6, knight back, protects the pawn. A bishop to G4. So there's a couple moves we can do here. F3, but that would leave us susceptible to checks on this diagonal. We can move the queen to safety, or we can do something that we've been talking about, make a threat greater or equal to this attack. So he's attacking my queen, so we can attack his queen. All right, so he takes my queen, and then I can capture his queen back. Unfortunately, if you thought he's not doing so well right now, it just gets worse. So knight takes the pawn. That's not good. So what move should we play as white here? Welcome, Mario. So what move should we play as white here? You notice, are any of his pieces hanging essentially on pre, where they if they get taken, nobody can get captured back. Do you see Mario? You don't see it? All right. Well, keep looking. You'll see it. Which piece of blacks can just be taken for free right here? The bishop. Yeah, we can just take the bishop, okay? Fortunately, the knight comes in because the rook has no place to go, but the bishop protects it. So always look to see, before you make dubious moves, to see, hey, if I put my piece there, can it get captured? All right, so knight out. Knight threatens the fork. He sees it. Knight threatens the pawn. D5. That's kind of where I was going anywhere, so that was nice. So now I got two guys attacking C7. He protects it again. So I get a check in there. King F7. Knight back. Now he's making a threat of his own, okay? Just because you're getting blown out in a game, as we'll see in the next game here, there's always chances for comebacks. So even though he's getting whooped right now, bishop to c5 attacks the pawn. So we should do something about that. Any ideas what we can do about this move? What's the best way to counter bishop to c5? And it's an attacking move. Pawn to d4, excellent. Yeah, keep your attack rolling, and excellent. So now he goes here, which is another oops, as they say. And yeah, I see it. Pawn takes, rook takes, and then knight up. Just try to get a mating net going here. We want to get the game done as soon as possible here. So king up, protect it, h6. Well, unfortunately, king can't take protected pieces. Rook h over, pawn takes. So when he takes, it's too little too late. And now his king's on the side of the board. We have very simple checkmate here. So we can just bring this rook finally into the game on f1. And yeah, you got the pawn fork. And so he never stops, which is good. As we'll see in this next game. You just keep playing until the bell rings, pretty much. And then we get this... See, we weren't checking in these positions. If we check, then the king gets out of off the back row, off that side file and into the game. So we just play rook to g3 and keep him forever on this h file, and then checkmate. Okay, so not too good, but let's see a game that's kind of similar to that one, where a guy never gives up and maybe a comeback happens because he's not playing a guy as good as me. So let's check that one out. All right. So white plays e4. This is a game against very beginner players. You know what white's rating is on chess.com?
It's like 900.
It's like 900 on chess.com, and he's playing someone very similar to his rating. All right. So e4, e5. Queen to h5. We probably see this a lot, okay? So he's attacking our pawn. Our good friend, St. Louis resident Hikaru Nakamura, used to play this move. He since grew out of it, I guess. So queen to h5, it attacks this pawn. So natural moves like knight f6 attacking the queen, no good. And another this is probably Mario's favorite move in this position, g6. Unfortunately, queen takes pawn check, and you just lost your rook. So in this move, shoot, you can just play knight to c6, d6, whatever you like. All right, so g6, queen takes, and now a fork is in play. Bishop e7. Queen takes the rook, and now the knight is in a pin. So does anybody have any idea what the best move for black is here? It's really funny. Anybody? Now you just want to say, oh man, he's good. This guy's good. This guy's good. Well, obviously, he's attacking our knight, right? We just lost a rook. You want to be down a knight too? King F8's the only thing we can do. I just hope we don't get mated now by bishop H6. So then we proceed with, wow, can we even play that? So after D3, now he's threatening bishop to H6. And I don't see it. All right, so maybe he played the best move. He's like, okay, you take my rook. Hey, you know, guess what? Take my knight too. I'm getting out of here. I am getting out. But he plays bishop to F8 here. So now he just takes more stuff. He's got this bishop in a pin. He should be thinking about getting this bishop to H6 and getting some good stuff happening here. But all right, so queen takes the pawn. But it's always good to take stuff, you know. So bishop to C4, excellent. What's he threatening? Checkmate, right? This is a very pivotal square for black in the opening, F7, because it's only protected by the king. That's why it's the weakest square in all of chess, okay? And so he stops it with bishop to E6. So bishop takes pawn. So we should be able to see this, this combination where bishop takes the bishop, pawn takes, and it removes the defender of G6. Check. Now king to D7. So now it's in. All right, queen check again. Queen blocks. So we're up so much material. You know, you might think about trading, but you're still on the attack. So either way is fine. Queen up. Knight to C6. So white decides to get some of his pieces off the back row playing now, but he does it in a very suspect way. Knight to F3. Not very good because black can just take it. However, black, he's got his own threats happening here. So he wants to play, he's like, forget the free knight. I'm going to go for the fork, okay? So black should have obviously taken the free knight. All right, so knight to B4. So now white's like, oh man, now he realizes my knight is under attack and he's threatening knight takes C2 check. I can't believe he sees it, but he does. So what move can we do to kill two birds with one stone here? Save our knight and protect C2. Kevin's got it. You guys got it back there? How can we save the knight and protect C2 simultaneously? So if we bring that knight out, unfortunately he can take our knight on F3. So we got to move our knight to somewhere that protects C2. Can this knight go anywhere to protect C2? Excellent. D4, right? All right, so now black's playing really good. He's like, oh, okay, I forgot how to play, but now I remember again. All right, so look, this knight is defending C2. However, he's pretty close to our, black's territory, so he's easier to attack. So C5 attacks the knight. So now if we move our knight, guess what? Knight takes C2 check is coming, and we don't like that. So this is a great example of when to make a threat greater or equal to your opponent's threat. So he's threatening our knight. If we move our knight, we get forked. So that's off the table. So what should we attack here? Any ideas? Who should white attack in this position? The knight. Excellent. C3. Or no, A3. Well, whatever. They're both fine. All right, so A3. Well, obviously. yes, as I looked closer, C3 doesn't work because knight D3 check, king up, and then bye-bye knight. All right. So that's why when you make a threat like that, you got to calculate hard. And luckily, white did. He picked the right pawn, A3. All right, so he takes, and now E3. So now black, even though he's down so much, he's still generating a counterplay, okay? He's threatening check and whatever. All right, so white just gets out of there. He castles the safety. Now, if you were playing black, what would you play? Well, I don't even know. So you never want to get rid of, by trading these pawns. But if you do play E2 and he plays rook to E1, how can you save it? Anybody have any ideas? I don't. I think he's just gone. So maybe taking with check is fine. All right, rook takes. And now queen takes b4. So now we got a check. King's on the run. So we can't take this bishop because he has two defenders. So now he's going to try to distract the queen. Well, maybe not. Maybe he's just going to try to win that pawn. So king up to protect it. Not very good. So he's decided I'm moving him back. Queen check again. King back up. Rook check. So they're doing a little dance. And now he moved king to E8. So now, if you're playing white here, you could consolidate, but you got such a great attack, he decides he's not going to do that. You could even come up here and threaten checkmate. All right, but instead C3. So he's going to try to get the queen out of there. So now it worked. So queen to B3. So now the queen has left the diagonal, and we're free to take the bishop with check, and now king up, queen check, and now we can take the rook. All right, so now look at how much white is up. Okay, this is especially important in these beginner games, okay? Even at the 13, 14, 1500 level. Never resign. All right, you still have a queen. You could still get a stalemate theoretically. There's no reason to resign. Make your opponent beat you until the bitter end, okay? So he's up by a lot. Like a lot. But, black, he's determined. He's got a check, and he likes it. All right, so king F up. So takes it. All right, so he's still doing okay. Rook check. King up. He's still alive. He's not doing okay, but he's still alive. That's the most important thing. So king up. Rook check. And you see, white can never, all these checks are he's just going around in circles. He's never putting on the final mate here. So now he's tag team on here. And so now, we should be able to see a checkmate for white here. All right, what do you think the first move would instantly be? What move did he just play? Queen F7 to attack what? The pawn, right? So why doesn't he just take the pawn, okay? All right, so then if king goes up, we'll check him and then hopefully mate him, right? All right. Let's say he goes this way, okay? All right. Can we find a checkmate here? All right. I can find a checkmate. Now, can you? You can get all your pieces involved, you know. It doesn't have to be the queen and the rook the whole time, you know. Uh-oh. Yeah, I'm just going to end it. Yeah, that's what he should be thinking about. I'm just going to end it, not this ring around the rosy stuff for, 20 moves. He'll interpose. All right, so he interposes. He's feeling good now. He's like, all right, I'll block it. And now we have one move that just ends the game. Yeah. I'll give you a hint. It's not pawn takes pawn because this pawn is doing something pivotal. It's keeping the king out of b4. So, do we see checkmate in one move? Notice how the queen got the check on e6, then the other rook brought it up to a5. It's a team game. Nobody ever believes me when I say it, but chess is the ultimate team sport. You need everybody in here to bring it home. So who hasn't been getting in on these checks lately? You see checkmate in one, Mario? Rook c8 mate, thank you. And that's it. That's game, all right? So whenever you have a chance to checkmate your opponent, don't begin 4 bishops, don't begin 3 knights, and look how cool I am. Just get it over with, checkmate. All right, so in the game, he doesn't take the pawn. He plays queen to e7 check. Now he takes it. And now he probably has a variation of that checkmate that we just showed. But instead, I'm going to get, even though I got this rook superstar that could just check and lead the mate, I'm going to get another queen. Look at me. All right, then I'll take your rook then, all right? If you don't want it, I'll take it, all right? And so now check again, king up, check. So it's very dangerous. But, he's just going to keep going for it. So discovered check. He decides he doesn't need the knight, which is a mistake. Okay, so once again, we got a checkmate in 2 here or something. It's got to be 2, all right? So notice this rook is being great, right? He's keeping the king, on this side of the board. Okay, so I'll give you a hint. It's not a rook check. Wait, what? Knight c3, I mean, it looks cool, like a knight check, right? But what did that just do? It made a fleeing little path for the king. I'm sure knight to c3 leads to mate in 11. I don't know what move of white's doesn't lead to mate in 11, but we have faster. We have mate in 2.
Queen b3.
Queen to b3. Well, that might just be mate in 1, huh? So we don't even need to do mate in 2. Queen to b3 just ends it. I won't show how I calculate it out, mate. I calculate out that check. Which is also mate, right? Yeah, I calculate out the better mate. So everything's a mate. So he misses a lot of mates here. All right, but now this h-pawn could get a queen, or this could be a queen. He doesn't even know which one to push, all right? So now he's just taking all the stuff. Now white still has checkmate in 2 with queen to b3 check, king here, and now where's the checkmate for white here? There's only one square that leads to mate. And even we get the king involved. Obviously the king's not going to be doing the checkmate, but he's going to be queen to e2. Excellent, because you checking him, attacking him, and attacking both of his potential flight squares. Excellent. All right. So queen takes. Now he says, I'll get this queen. I'll get this queen. That's fine. All right. So now, black's like, well, I'll thread my own check. See what you can do about it. So he's like, I don't want to do nothing about it. I just want to. Okay. So queen check. All right. So we've had some fun with white here. But what should he play here to have maximum safety for his king in this position? Should he go here, here, or back to g1? Probably G1 is the safest, because if he gets, well, he can't get checked again. Well, if he gets checked again like there, then we go here, and now he's got no more potential checks, okay? All right, but instead he goes right into the fire, okay, right up to king f3. So he saw how black moved his king to the end of the board, so he's thinking, maybe I'll get my king way up top too. And notice that when the black king got to the back row, it did not turn into anything. It's just there he is. So check, king up. So he takes the pawn. So now white is like, oh man, my rook's under attack. I'm going to play maximum safety here. I'm going to put the queen and the rook in the same line. And nothing bad can ever happen because they're both protecting each other, okay? So we'll see if it works out for him. All right, so queen check. All right, king moves, check. All right, so he just played king to G6, rushing that king up there. Was that a good move or a horrible move? Yeah, pretty bad move, right? Because the queen and the rook are in the same line, but they're only protecting each other if there's nobody in between. All right, so it's a devastation. Queen takes, the king's got to move, and then you know what happens. All right, the ultimate comeback, and take all this stuff, yeah. And then the game's over. So that's why you never give up, especially in these beginner games, especially with a shorter time control. Time pressure can become a factor. You know, just the nerves, they can't put you away and they get frustrated. So if you have a checkmate, you know, just get it done. Just win it and move on to the next one. All right. So now we have a game contributed by Mario here. In this game, it's kind of back and forth, where Mario's unfortunately kind of not doing so well. Then he gets up, and then it flip-flops back and forth. All right, so Mario, we'll give you the prime spot. We'll give you on the bottom here. All right, Mario's our hero playing black against Grant. Okay, here we go. So white plays out e4, black plays e5. Knight f3 attacks the pawn. Knight goes to c6, so bishop to b5. So now, I guess Mario didn't want the double pawn, so he plays queen to f6 here, okay? But bringing out your queen too early sometimes is not optimal because it can be attacked so easily. So knight to c3. So he's already eyeing at this knight to d5 square attacking the queen. So Mario attacks the bishop. Bishop retreats. Notice that white could go ahead and play knight to d5 here because his queen's attacked. All right, so bishop moves. And now he's attacking f7 here, the pivotal square. All right, so bishop to b7. And so white finally does get the move knight to d5, and now Mario has to retreat the queen. However, his plan kind of worked because, you know, he did not receive double pawns, so that was good. So d3. And now, if you were to put your knight on e7, which knight would you move? This knight, the one that hasn't moved, or the one that's on c6? Yeah, always develop your pieces, okay? Because you want to get all your pieces off the back row, all right? So you can eventually castle, all right? So knight e7. I would have even thought about knight f6 here, okay? And notice that knight on e7 was doing a pivotal job here. He was protecting this pawn, so now pawn's gone. All right, so he attacks it, right retreats back, now takes, and now Mario's got a chance. You know, he didn't want double pawn, so why does he think that his buddy would? He probably doesn't. So he could take, and now his opponent would receive double pawns, and then we can think about bishop e7, knight f6, and castling. All right, but instead he makes him retreat. And now he gets his queen back to f6. Notice again, well, he can't attack bishop to g5 here, or else queen would take the b pawn. So maybe he'll try to play c3, or maybe he'll just get castled. Instead, he plays his knight to g5. All right, so everybody should know why he plays knight to g5. Attacking the pivotal f7 square. He's got one attacker, two attackers. That added up to 6. We only have two defenders, but they add up to be way more than 6 points, okay? So what is an idea for black to protect f7 here? There's two different ones. One is direct protection, the other is interference. We're getting somebody in the way of the bishop. Because obviously we can't get anybody in the way of knight to f7, because he can jump over. So the two moves we should be considering are knight to h6. It just protects f7, and d5 here. Right. So white castles, and black decides I'm gonna get out of there. Fair enough. Whose castle looks safer, whites or blacks? Whites. He's got all his little pawns in front. He cannot get checked. Where black can get checked, and he's going to just check him wherever he sees it. I can't wait. Check. He's probably really excited about it. So Barria moves over, and now he tries to break it open with e5. So after queen to g6, white plays f4. All right, so f4, you know, it's fine. But, I mean, we can kind of be adventurous here, right? All right, so what can you tell me about this square f4 here? All right, well, the one thing I would say about it is it's on the same diagonal as this king on b8. Interesting. So, you know, a pawn on f4 really isn't attacking the king. But the bishop or the queen can. So, if we play queen to f4 here, now we're eyeing the f pawn and threatening e6 check. All right, but he just wanted to protect the pawn. So always be looking out for putting your pieces on the same diagonal, file, or rank as the enemy king. That way you can get some discovered checks, pins, skewers, all kinds of good stuff. All right, that's why we like our king safe in a castle. And by playing the move f4 for white, he's susceptible now to checks, you know. All right, so he plays bishop to c8, attacks the queen. Queen retreats. Now knight to h6. Now e6. So Mario's like, I don't even care. I'm going to attack your queen. It's good. And it stops all the discovered check shenanigans. Excellent, Mario. Knight to f5. Queen to h3. And now it's safe to take that pawn. And we better take it. Pawn takes. g4 attacks the knight. So we move the knight. And so now he plays rook to f2, which I don't really understand. But now we just said king, rook. You know, by playing f4, he opened up that long diagonal. And now he just put the rook on the same diagonal as the king. So which move do you think we want to play here? Yeah, you should have played it. Bishop to c5, threatening knight takes, bishop, pawn takes, bishop takes, rook check, if we even want to. Which we do want to, by the way. because sometimes it's like, well, I don't even know what move he could play to, or let's say he plays c3. We would want to, after knight takes, pawn takes, we would want to take it right away, even though it's a pinned piece, because if we just like, well, you know, whatever, he can interfere with it. Well, obviously with d4 in this instance. Okay, so we would want to take it right away. So yeah, Mario, when he's got his king and rook on the same diagonal, and you got a dark square bishop, man, this is the time to strike. Unfortunately, he plays bishop to b4, walking into a pawn fork. Yeah, that's a lot of hope chess. I prefer good moves to hope chess. All right, so bishop, so c3, but it's okay because he can take, and then he's like, oh yeah, look at this, I got the pin. It's too little, too late because he can get d4 in now. Whereas in the other position, if he plays bishop c5 right away, you see he can't play d4. All right. What'd you live and learn, right? All right. So d4. But, you know, even though he missed this opportunity to win, you know, sometimes, you know, more opportunities come up if you just are patient. Better opportunities even maybe, yeah. You never know. All right, so he offers the queen trade. I would definitely queen trade if I was white here. Queen takes, pawn takes. You know, he's got these double junk pawns. You got the forks. The fork kind of doesn't work though because of check. But it's still fun to play. And maybe you won't see it. All right, so yeah, if I was white, I would have traded in a heartbeat. But okay, so he plays check. You can't resist a check, right? All right, and now he blocks the check. And you know, now he's got some pressure on h2. That's nice. So now he's like, oh, well, I was just joking. I'll trade now. I'll trade now. But now black has all these nice pawns down here, so you got to strike when you can, you know. Like, I mean, what was he thinking was going to happen after queen to g3 check here? I mean, I just don't get it. Was he even if you play like rook to d6, well, maybe he was hoping that. Oh, that's what he was hoping for. All right, he was hoping that Mario was so excited about trading queens that he would play queen to d6. Now I'm thinking like 1,000. Okay, so he was hoping that he played queen to d6. So now if he plays queen to d6, what move does white slam on the board here? Yeah, the bishop to f4. Yeah, and then, oh no, yeah, oh no. And then, yeah, so since Mario played a much better move, bishop to c7, now he's like, okay, I'll trade him. All right, all right, so knight takes h3. All right, so now Mario's getting somewhere. He's attacking some stuff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So maybe if he can win a pawn or something, he'll be doing okay. All right, now he attacks the pawn here. So he just takes. Take, and it defended the pawn. Excellent. So now Mario's up a pawn. He's feeling really good. All right, so let's see how long it takes. All right, so white gets a pawn back. King up. All right, rook retreats. So, all right. So now he plays rook to e8, threatening check. Why not? Yeah. Or maybe even stop short to keep that king back in that back row. All right, so knight to f3 stops the check. And so now Mario plays rook to e6, threatening check down here. So king to f2, so far so good. Bishop attacks the knight. All right, fair enough. And now knight forks the rook and the bishop. No troubles, no troubles. We can just get out of it with a rook check. And he does. All right, excellent. All right, so now king back to the back row. So you're still doing okay, Mario. But now he plays rook to h6. He's got two players eyeing on h2, the rook and the bishop. So let's see what he does here, which is not good. Because what did Mario just put the rook in the same line as? The bishop. All right, so how can white take advantage of this situation where it's bishop, knight, rook? Yeah, we got a four-time U.S. chess champion, Yasser Seirawan. He knows. He wants to get all the glory here. Yes, sir.
Take the bishop.
Knight takes the bishop. Okay. You know, because if it's still in the same line, there's no threat. So knight takes bishop, making this threat active now. So if pawn takes knight, bishop takes the rook, and then white is just crushing. And then if bishop takes the pawn with check, king moves the safety, and he's still got to get out of this situation here. So now he could try rook check, but then king takes bishop, pawn takes, and he's still down a whole piece. There's no way to get out of it. So Mario, yeah, so in this position, Mario, just move the bishop to safety, and then you don't have to worry about nothing. Sounds good? All right.